a way to maintain whatever strip of unused land on that E-lot is remaining. We do also say in the CC&Rs that if they want to change, their footprint to match the house, then that would require an amendment, but nobody's going to do that because it would require the signature of every owner in the plat. So as soon as we have a few owners there in their homes, it's not going to happen anymore. And it doesn't need to because of the way things are set up. So
they from the pictures, the drawings of the houses, they look really nice.
Well, thank you, and thank Benson Whitney from Richmond American Homes. Raise your hand, Benson.
Nice job, Benson.
He's been excited about this project and been a real great partner with us to get to this point.
Anything else for Larry?
Thank you.
Okay. Tamara, you Planning Commission, you're all on board with this? Okay. Well, we look forward to this, but we even look more forward to the other phase.
Yes.
We'll be back in about a month.
Okay. Okay. Okay, then we will, council, go back to item 10A, and
one of the recommendations refers to a preliminary plat. I think it's the first item. Make sure to strike preliminary. These are final plats.
Yeah, I see that. Okay, thank you for that.
I don't see that.
It's in your,
unless it got changed.
well, it's in suggested motions.
Oh,
I think on our yellow sheet we're good though.
yeah.
Okay, as long as it doesn't say preliminary, we don't want to approve a preliminary.
Okay,
It is the
so
final
if you
plat.
go by what's on the, I think we'll be,
Here, I make a motion to approve the request of Larry Myler for a 2-lot final subdivision plat called Hidden Springs Subdivision Plat A on property located at 1473 West State Street in the Grove Mixed Use Overlay Zone.
we have a motion. Do I have a second? We have a second by Councilperson Walker. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we'll now move to action item 10B and ask for a motion on this one. We have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is unanimous. We'll now go to item 10C. I would like a motion on this item.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve Larry Myler's request of a proposed site plan for a new single-family residential development with 117 dwellings on property located at 1473 West State Street in the Grove Mixed-Use Zone.
Second.
I have a motion. I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. It passes unanimously. We would now move to item 10 to consider for adoption resolution 2019-01 authorizing the mayor to enter into a task order engineering agreement with Horrocks Engineers and providing for an effective date. And General Counsel, would you address us on this?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This item is a result of our affiliation with the Division of Drinking Water with the Battle Creek Springs Rehabilitation Project. As we've discussed in prior meetings, we are receiving some funding from the Division of Drinking Water. It's a no interest or low interest loan. Where's Marty? Low interest loan. As a part of preparing for closing on that loan and the bond associated with it, the Division of Drinking Water has asked for a copy of a current working contract with Horrocks Engineers, who has been awarded the contract to complete the project. This task order is a subset of our general contract that we have with Horrocks, specifically naming the rehabilitation project for Battle Creek Springs. So it's really just a housekeeping item in order to fulfill the requirements for the bond closing.
Any questions? Thank you. If not, we would like to call for a motion to adopt resolution 2019-01.
I'll make a motion that we adopt resolution. Oh, what just happened? Okay. All right, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt resolution 2019-01, authorizing the mayor to enter into a task order engineering agreement with Horrocks Engineers and providing for an effective date.
We have a motion by Councilperson Anderson. Do we
I'll
have a
second. I'll second.
We have a second by Councilperson Jensen. This will be a roll call vote. Councilperson Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Jensen.
Yes.
Councilmember Lamone.
Yes.
Councilmember Walker.
Yes.
Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
It's unanimous. Thank you for that. We will move on to our next. I would just like to make one comment before we move to the next item on Horrocks Engineers. Some 40 plus years ago, they were the engineer that did the pipeline that I was involved with when I was 18 years old coming down Battle Creek. And it was one of the some of the first projects I think Horrocks engineered, and the principal who started that was Gil Horrocks. And he passed away this last week. And he was a great man and a great friend of my father's, and we did a lot of projects with him around the state in engineering. So they're the perfect person to have on this project because they've lived it up there. So anyway. Okay.
Okay, the next item is also a resolution declaring the intent of Pleasant Grove City to annex 10.71 acres of real property located at approximately 4801 West, 6800 North, and it says American Fork, but that's their address, but they're still in the unincorporated area of the county, hence the annexation petition. So this piece of property is, do you have that up? Yeah, so it's the old Sager property, for those of you old timers that remember that name. It's back behind BMW, and it's an extension east of where the Stewart's RV business is. So if that gives you an idea of where the property is.
And why was this never annexed before? I mean, this is kind of a funny piece in the middle of...
Prior to this, it was actually a farm. The Sager family owned the farm. And I have been involved in annexation negotiations over the last 15 years, off and on. And there were times when Mrs. Sager was ready and wanted to come into the city, and there were times when she wasn't. And I think in her perspective, it boiled down to a lot of just keeping the freedom of being in the county and lower taxes and that kind of a thing.
Makes sense. Okay.
That we now have someone who's interested in developing that piece of property. The piece of property is included in our annexation declaration policy plan. It is also identified as a parcel of property which is intended to go to Pleasant Grove, not American Fork, by agreement with American Fork City. We have reviewed the petition, and it meets all the legal requirements for it to be considered for annexation. We would also like to make you aware that the resolution establishes March 5th as the public hearing. So the resolution tonight just makes it known that we are intending on annexing the parcel, and it gives us 60 days for public comment, anybody to come in and protest. And then on March 5th, we'll hold a public hearing and finalize it with an ordinance.
Any further questions? Anybody?
I reviewed this and made a recommendation back to Kathy. As you can see that the area of their parcel does not incorporate all of the unincorporated county. There's a couple of small sliver parcels that are owned by UDOT that if they weren't incorporated into the parcel or into the annexation plat, then they would be left in the county. So I recommended that we actually have them expand the boundary to include these sliver parcels in addition to their parcel and annex it, so that there's no gap between us and American Fork or otherwise. finalized, so.
Does that need to be part of the motion, or?
No, they'll take care of that when the ordinance is adopted. That will be included in the plat.
Okay. All right. That's good. Casey, did that answer your questions on that plat? Okay. Yeah. They keep pretty good track of us over there, so anyway, so. Okay, council, I'd ask for a motion.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 2019-02, indicating the intent of Pleasant Grove City to annex 10.71 acres of real property located approximately 4801 West, 6800 North, American Fork, and providing for an effective date.
We have a motion from Councilperson Williams. I ask for a second. Second from Councilmember excuse me, Jensen. And this will be a roll call vote, and we'll start out with Councilperson Williams.
Yes.
Councilperson Walker.
Yes.
Councilperson Lamone.
Yes.
Councilperson Jensen.
Yes.
Councilperson Anderson.
Yes.
Thank you. It passes unanimously, and that finishes all of our action items for this evening. Now we move on, and we don't have any other items to discuss from our work session other than a review from our staff. But we'll move on to item 12, review and discuss of the January 15th, 2019 City Council meeting agenda. And we'll turn the time back to our city manager.
Do you have a copy of that in front of you? Okay. For our work session, we were approached by Ranked Choice Voting. That's a group that has been talking to cities about the way that we conduct our elections. This Ranked Choice Voting is a new concept on how to do elections, which isn't just whoever gets the most votes is elected. There's a different way, in essence, to count how the votes go. So with that, they have been trying to get with different cities to make this presentation. We have them scheduled for next week. Now, we haven't followed up with them, so we're not exactly sure if they're coming or not, but we do have them on the agenda in case they do. They do have a presentation they want to share in regards to that. If cities, a lot of cities that heard the presentation last year, let me take a step back. This ability to run elections this way is something that the state granted to cities last year in the legislative session. They said if cities want to do it this way, they can. They just have to notify elections officials by January 1st of 2019. So I don't know why the state said they didn't make it legal for their elections. They made it legal for city elections. And I don't know if they wanted cities to be the guinea pig on this or how they wanted that to work, but but this group, what I read in the newspaper, there are 5 cities that declared their intent to potentially use ranked choice voting as their method of elections for their upcoming city council elections in 2019. So they contact us about doing a presentation. We're gonna try to have them come next week if that's still working with their schedule. Item 2 is Manila Pond, if you're familiar with, was built as a detention, not a detention facility, a secondary water facility where we could store water and put into our secondary water system. The intention was also to have a fishing pond there, and then a portion of it, there is some beach area in which we would allow people to swim and have flotation devices. We do not allow flotation devices on the whole pond. But we have found that there are people that will be on their tubes or stand-up paddle boards or whatever, and they're using the full pond. And so we want to bring that up for discussion and talk about potentially ways to move forward on this. As we've talked about as staff, we have really discussion items that we need to discuss, ramifications if we make it at all, open up the whole thing to if somebody, so that flotation could be used, and whether there's going to be conflict with with people fishing. If we don't allow fishing anymore, is that going to cause a problem? Things like that. So we just need to have the discussion and see how the city council would want to proceed. So we're going to do that next week. We also have 2 public hearings. Both of those are in relation to our vicinity plan. Our vicinity plan is what outlines our future, our road connections on future developments. And so we have a plan that says if this property is developed, this is how we would like the road structure to work. And we have 2 people that have asked to amend the vicinity plan. And I don't know if we want to go into detail. Daniel's not here. I think both of these have been heard by the Planning Commission. I don't know, Tamara, if do you recall? Okay, there's 2 of them, and I think one the Planning Commission was okay with and one they denied. Even though Planning Commission denies, they still can get an audience with the City Council on what the City Council thinks about it. So those will both be, and those are public hearing items. So if there's people that want to come in and give public comment on that, they'll have the opportunity to do that. Item 10A is the Savage View Estates, which has changed ownership recently, and due to the change in ownership, they need a little bit more time to get their infrastructure in. There is in essence, they want to extend their final plat approval. If they don't do certain things within a certain timeline, then their ability to do that expires and they have to come back and run through the whole system again. So they can ask for an extension. I know Tina and Marty are working on this one as far as working with the property owner. So their request is to extend. And we've done these before with other developers as they kind of run up against the gun with the clock ticking on their requirements to do things. So Tina, was there any issues that we need to get in front of them? Yeah. Item 10B and C are both liquor licenses, one for Evermore Park. If you remember, we granted them a liquor license for a one-time event for New Year's Eve. This is a full-service restaurant liquor license so that when they get their restaurant up and running, they'll be able to serve liquor. That's a 10B. 10C is for a Class A on-premise beer license for the Hyatt House. They would like to be able to sell beer for the patrons there when they have the sodas you can buy and things like that. They'd be able to purchase beer. 10D is an interlocal agreement with Utah County regarding our Major Crimes Task Force. We're currently in agreement with them, and the agreement extends into 2026, I think is what Tina said. However, there's some legalese and some liabilities and things that have come up pertaining to this agreement that Tina's looked at and has worked with the other attorneys. It's an interlocal agreement with a lot of different communities in this area to tweak the agreement just for protections for the city and making sure that we're fully represented. So Tina will go over that next week. And then the last one is a resolution for us to name individuals to act on the behalf of the city to manage our PTIF accounts. Our PTIF is really it's our bank, it's our savings account. So we put money in there, we put our reserve monies in there. At any given time, there'll be a few $1 million in there. When we do payroll or we do other transactions, we transfer money from PTIF into our local bank that we use, and then we write the checks out of that account. So this is more of our long-term stuff. There's a higher interest rate. I mean, it's negligible, but it's a higher interest rate than what the bank gives us. But this is where they're protected funds, and this is where most cities keep their money. So we need to authorize a couple individuals, Denise and who else? And Mike, to be able to, in essence, transfer money to and from that account. I think that's it. Any questions about next week? Yeah. Okay. So a sewer bid for it's our sewer lining project that we do every year.
Okay, thank you.
That's it.
I'd like to give some time to the staff to if they have any items they want to bring forward to the council this evening, or if the council has anything for them. Denise, do you have anything? Oh, we love your tan.
Had a good vacation.
So, Scott, yeah. You know where you've been. So anyway, Scott, anything else?
Yes, just Thursday at 2:30, we're meeting with our interior designer on the police and courts building. The lobby area out front before you come into the council chambers and the community room. We're going to be making some decisions on furniture and colors. And if there's any council members that would like to participate in that, that meeting is Thursday, 2:30, down in the police training room. So please come join us if you have interest in that. There is a professional interior designer that's giving us recommendations on what to do. I know the police have looked at it. They have probably a couple different opinions on some of those things, and it'd probably be appropriate to, if there's some council members that would like to have a say in that, to come to that and give your input.
2:30.
2:30 on Thursday, down in the police training room. And then also a reminder: February 8th is our off-site gathering for our budget and planning with staff and city council. Our venue is going to be the training room in the new fire station. So that is a public meeting. Public's invited. We notice it in that manner. We record it. The actual times, and we'll have the agenda probably figured out here in a couple weeks, but the actual times of when we're going to be there we'll have posted when we decide that.
Okay. Tina, do you have anything else for us?
I don't. Just my new employee. We're excited to have the position filled, and I think she's going to do a great job.
Carter? Marty, anything else?
Just a lot of projects under design.
Have you let them know that, Marty? Update it? Okay.
Okay, thank you. Sherry, would you have anything else from the library? Okay, thank you. Chief.
So glad.
You know, if you've got that much stuff after and you've got to fill another place over to the pipe plant, are you guys kind of hoarders, or what's the deal there? It'll take the whole meeting.
Denise's eye roll was awesome, right there.
It's time to make it happen.
Right.
Okay. And from the PD, welcome. You're kind of a new face here tonight. Yep, congratulations on your promotion. And yeah, there's been a discussion. They never talked to the mayor about these beard stuff. Hey, Dion.
Mayor, sorry, I don't want to pull a Marty on everybody here, but
We'll give you a moment.
just a couple
Marty.
things.
Wow.
Meeting extender.
On our meeting on February 8th, if you have agenda items that you would like to have discussed, if you let me know, I'll put those on an agenda. And then a week or so ago, I believe all of you got an email from some residents at Strawberry Creek Villas regarding the property we own next to them. So Marty and I met with them last night. Marty was able to, I think, take care of their concerns, and we felt like it was a very productive meeting, and there was good feelings as we ended the meeting. So just want to let you know we took care of that one.
All right, appreciate that. Council, Sid, what do you have for us? Eric.
Oh, sorry, I do. Tamara, welcome. The chamber is really cool, and you'll be proud to be part of it.
Lots going on.
Diana.
Just very briefly.
We're being served.
Lynn. Kathy? You know, I just do like to express my appreciation to the council. It's been a great year, as you saw if you've read the newsletter there. And I appreciate each and every one of you. It's been a great year, and I think we've accomplished a lot, and I really look forward to this next year. And with that, I want to ask you to approach me with some things that maybe you want to see, some goals and different things on this coming year and say in the next 4 years. So let's anything you want to bring up at our retreat, but also just kind of some direction you guys want to see. And so we can work together as a team and seeing those through and then running them by our city manager and see if it's even possible. And it's all possible. So it's, well, sometimes say, well, is that really what you want to do? So, but anyway, thank you. It's, I couldn't have asked for a better council, and I look forward to this next year here. And so with that, I would like to ask for a motion to go into closed session.
We have a 5-minute break before that, though.
Yeah, we can do that. Okay. But we need the motion to go there, to adjourn and have a 5-minute break before we.
Motion to use the restroom?
Yeah, we need a motion to use.
For Eric to use the restroom.
It's not for the restaurant. I just wanted to say hi to people. Yeah. So moved.
Closed session.
Second.
Do I have a second? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? And we will reconvene if anybody wants to stick around until after the fact, but we will be not making any motions or decisions following our closed session.